Here we are, everybody. Welcome to your favorite. It's not just baseball start. It's the next podcast starting, which with your host. I'm Brendan Lemieux. I'm joined by Todd Lemieux, and I'm joined by my father. And we're here to tell you that they continue to sign terrible contracts. That's why we're here. We evaluate them. We tell you who stinks. We tell you who's good. And we tell you who your future retirement player you get to pay for. I think we need to develop a retirement home for some of these contracts because these players are not going to be playing, or they're going to be getting paid. Shout out to Chris Davis, wherever you're at. Hope you're enjoying your family, as you will get paid till you're almost 100. Todd, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Felt like that was a good Super Bowl game to take us right into pitchers and catchers. So that was pretty nice. Watching that whole thing come down. I got to tell you, I emotionally had to grapple with the Yu Darvish extension, which I know we're going to get into. But listen, one of my favorite things to do every week is to bring you the level of insight you can get everywhere else. Takes that are so lukewarm that you could bathe in them for hours. Welcome to Swing Batter.
There we go. And Dad, how you doing today?
Oh, I can't do any better. I just stuck a big piece of bubble gum in my cheek to let you know I have a new best friend in Lenny Dykstra.
Yes.
So we've been talking to Lenny, and I just wanted to put something in my cheek to remember him. The other thing I want to remind everybody of, Patrick Mahomes got his athletic abilities watching his father pitch. His father was a major league pitcher. So football is the child of baseball.
Drafted by the New York Mets. He was.
So he would be reporting with his father to duty here this week.
Mm-hmm.
Can we discuss your best friend Lenny?
Please.
This is I love this. We all wished Lenny a happy birthday. Good on him, right? Walk around with a pack of Big League Chew or tobacco or whatever you got. Stick that right in your gum. I personally sprinted everywhere in my office on his birthday just so everybody knew what speed actually looked like. That was the important thing. Listen, you may be hustling at your job, but if you're not Lenny Dykstra hustling at your job, you're not hustling. This is sprinting. This is demolishing everything 100%. He goes at it.
I would like to further that. So I was flying, and in honor of Lenny Dykstra, the TSA wants you to empty your bottles of water, your liquid. They have a nice trash can right there. For those that chew or don't chew or have lots of gum, in my case, I like at least 4 to 5 pieces of a nice big league chew gum there. Go up to the TSA because they can't understand you. You whip that gum out of your mouth and you throw it in that trash just like Lenny. That's what we need. That's the trend that needs to start in the TSA line. When the TSA agent says, sir, you can't go through checkout with that much gum in your mouth. We can't understand you. You go, darn right, you can't understand me. This is for Lenny. You hawk that right out of your mouth. And then you put in more gum. You get through security, folks. That's how you do it. That's how you fly. And on my flight, I certainly paid homage to the man, the myth, and the legend that is Lenny Dykstra. No one competes harder. No one wanted it more. Thank you, Lenny Dykstra.
One of the saddest days, I had a business meeting at 7 a.m. And at the meeting, there were a lot of guys there, but one of the guys I met with, he and I were big Met fans at the time. And I told him, I said, did you hear the news? He said, what? I said, the Mets traded Dykstra to the Phillies for Juan Samuel. And his face turned from normal color to total white. And he said, you're kidding. I said, I don't kid about this. And both of us said, this is a tragic day for the New York Mets. And we ended up being right because Lenny went to the Phillies where they won a World Series. So bad day for the Mets.
With Roger McDowell.
Yep.
And Roger McDowell, when you were talking about Roger McDowell, goes, I was just a throw-in.
True. So let's get into the Padres. The Padres signed their, we can't really call him, is he their ace? I don't think he's their ace.
He better be at this price.
So how young is Mr. Darvish? I mean, he just showed up for baseball. So he clearly is in his 20s because no one would sign someone who is old to this kind of a deal. Todd, tell us more details about the young Darvish player who just showed up.
Yu Darvish is in the El Duque from the Yankees age bracket of pitchers. So
No.
you all remember El Duque who
No.
who got here from Cuba, God bless him, claimed to be like 18 years old when he was in fact 49 or something like that, but nobody knew. What are you going to do? He didn't bring his birth certificate, right? So Yu Darvish comes over. We actually have his birth certificate. He's 36 years old.
36 years young.
So, yeah, 36 years young. So the Padres, being completely miffed off at the GM of the beloved Colorado Rockies for trying to throw them under the proverbial salary bus, decide to throw caution to the wind and extend Darvish out. 36 years old. How far out do you want to extend a 36-year-old?
In this day of baseball, I mean, there's no telling anymore.
Well,
But clearly,
you could be like the Mets and give him 2 with a 30 to have to earn, right? That might make sense. Or you could be like the Texas Rangers and throw caution to the wind and give him 5 years, right? And really be like, but that's if you're a 34-year-old. This guy's 36. What did the Padres do? They gave him 6 years. 6 years.
Man, oh man.
More than half a decade with you. Yu Darvish has to, every year invents a new pitch he's going to throw. I think he has like 20 pitches he can throw. If you play MLB The Show, there's usually like 4 or 5 pitches depending on the combo you do with the buttons and the direction, right? I don't think they can put up the number of pitches that Yu Darvish can throw at any given time. So he's probably committed to taking on a knuckleball or a screwball by years 4 or 5 of this contract. It'll take him up to 2028 and he'll be paid $14 million. It is front loaded. He's getting $24 million this year, 15 next year, 20 the year after that, then 15, 14, and 14. Astounding work. And I got to say, I'm impressed with the Padres' commitment to the game and to the purity of capitalism and just making this about the kids. So, Yu Darvish, good on you. Padres, way to stick it to the Rockies. Rockies, do your work. Do your work.
We have another $100 million player. Very happy. Darvish is certainly happy. This will hopefully, well, I shouldn't say hopefully. Maybe this isn't his last deal. Maybe at 42, the Mets come calling and bring him back. He
For sure.
some time. No pressure. I mean, there's no pressure on him at all to perform. He's got locked in. So however he performs is what you're going to get.
That's not even the best part. You ready? You ready for the best part of this whole contract? The absolute cherry on this Sunday.
Yes.
Full no trade clause. Full no trade clause. Padres fans, get out your spoons and eat the sundae. It's made and you ain't walking away from it. There's no way you're getting away. 6 years, you can't trade him. You can't.
Well, there is some hope. So if San Diego does burn down in a terrible fire, or they just have bad policy and they just make it really unlivable, I mean, maybe he wants to leave. I mean, that's your hope if you're the Padre fan, that your city.
No.
But if I get signed by the Padres and I have a no trade clause, there's some nice places there. I mean, Carlsbad, La Jolla, there's some really nice spots that you can settle down and have a nice.
Do you
nice
know what?
time.
Do you know what Yu Darvish's pay was last year?
Not a lot.
We can follow his career. His last year, he got $20 million.
20.
20.
That's a lot.
Yes. And the year prior.
Here's the reason I ask. There's a quote by him today after he signed the contract that he's going to work extra hard to prove himself. And I thought about that and I said, 20 million, was it enough to make you work extra hard? You had to get a 6-year. You weren't really giving it last year. That's what he seems to be saying. Now that I got this 20 million, I just kind of did it.
I was kind of phoning it in before.
I love
I'm going to put in a couple extra laps this spring training. You watch San Diego.
The signing of these deals is fantastic for many, many reasons. One thing I like to look at is the total career earnings. So for those kids out there that are wondering what sport, I'm an excellent athlete. I just have great ability. Mr. Darvish is going to walk away with over $250 million in prizes. That is a fantastic career of an athlete, if you ask me. I would take a $50 million career if I was every sports writer who votes on the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame would take a $5 million deal of their lifetime, if you will, maybe 10. They'd take any of that. Darvish is going to have over $250 million, which will give all the writers 250 million reasons to hate him even more. So even if he has a Hall of Fame career, good luck getting the votes. There's a lot of bitterness out there. Well, the bitterness pill is very, 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 very...
I don't have a good imagination anyways, but I'm having trouble imagining why the Padres felt this was so important.
I think Todd called it. The Rockies GM came out and literally was interviewed, and he didn't talk about the Rockies. Now, one may ask, if you're the Rockies GM, shouldn't you talk about your team? Well, if you have a bad company, or if you have a bad relationship, do you talk about your relationship, or do you throw stones at your neighbor? Well, in this instance, he threw stones at the Padres. Why did he?
Watched enough episodes of Dance Moms to know how this is going to go. You always talk about the other girl's mom. Never talk about your own girl and the fact that she can't pirouette her way into the hearts of America. Always about the other girl's mom. Every time.
So he picked the Padres, not the Dodgers, not the Giants, not the Diamondbacks. He picked the Padres, and he said he did not think he thought their team had a lot of holes. He thought they, have some problems in their future. We don't need to mention the fact that the Rockies have their problems today. Like right now, they have problems. They have holes today, tomorrow, and in the future. And if you were going to say anything about the Rockies, they are a lock per all the odds makers to finish last in their division. Dead last. So the GM is, having a good time. So I don't know why the Padres made the deal. I just know the Padres are loose with their money. So if you're a ball player and you're looking for some money, you're looking for some cash, the Padres is who I would have my agent call. Juan Soto, that's the team you need to be sticking with. They seem very interested.
Baseball being baseball, I'm waiting for the season to start and Chris Bryant to hit a home run off of Yu Darvish and the guy from Colorado to just send the tape all over the United States.
Oh, yeah.
Does he have a clause in there to not pitch at the Rocky Stadium? Because some pitchers do have that.
I don't think so.
Yu Darvish? No, that's where he'll develop his screwball.
Randy Johnson kept getting lit up. Good old Colorado, where the balls take flight. So we have another list for you, everybody, and I know everyone likes lists. We like lists this time of year. This list is it's not going to be the player that disappoints you. This is the team that you're going to be disappointed in. Again, Dad, I want to thank you for the list. Fantastic. We're going to start
the list is designed to tick people off. So let's see how we do.
Ooh,
there you go. So when Dad put it together, he said, "Listen, who can I make really upset?" Now
basically, this list is the Steven Seagal movie of lists.
Yeah, sure. Do you make people upset when he makes movies?
He makes a movie every weekend.
Oh,
yeah, but this is people have high expectations and they're going to be disappointed.
The highest of the high.
No, that's different.
So some of these, let's dive into this a little bit here. So,
We start with number 5, right?
number 5, if you're ready, sir. Number 5, Dad, you picked, and you can elaborate, the former Anaheim, now the Los Angeles Angels. That is your number 5 pick.
Yes. I don't think any of the three of us have particularly high expectations on the Angels, but a lot of people do. I'm reading around here, and they're just buying this Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani. I think they were on a team last year, right? and so they just think that this is going to be the season. And from what I can tell, their other idea about optimism is Artie Moreno didn't sell the team. And I don't know why that makes them any better either, but I'm reading a whole bunch of high expectations for this team, and I can't see it. I think all those people are going to have their heart broken probably by early May, mid-May. They'll say, uh-oh, this isn't working
Did you
out.
say early May?
Early,
This 1 month in.
he's 1 month and a half into the season. And
Yeah, they got to play the Rangers. They got to play Seattle. Oh, Houston's in the league too. Okay.
Last year was an interesting year for the Angels, if everyone wants to reflect. The Angels were, in fact, first place in their division. They were pretty, they were there for a short time, and then they proceeded to just get rocked. And they never recovered. So I'm not going to disagree with your number 5, but I really want to hear what Tom has to say about the Los Angeles Angels, folks.
I'm now just going to put the Los Angeles Angels on an immediate follow on Twitter because I just want to see them try to sell tickets and try to convince us that they're going to make the playoffs again. Or at all. At all. Like, if you're Mike Trout, how much therapy do you have to go through if somebody says the word playoffs? Within 10 feet. Does he, have a meltdown? Does he go into the fetal position and just start sucking his thumb when somebody mentions the playoffs? Because he feels so abandoned? How can he not be angry about what's been done to him? The fact that the Dodgers are openly flirting and saying they want Ohtani, the Mets are openly saying they want Ohtani, the Yankees are saying they want Ohtani, and the Angels have slated all of the Ohtani giveaways, the bobbleheads, the shirts, come to the stadium, but all of it takes place before the trade deadline. Tells you everything you need to know about this disaster of a team. And now, what's our only happiness as an Angels fan? The owner didn't sell will probably make the playoffs. The owner not selling is not a bull case for your team. The owner not selling means you are now lined up for more terrible, Ohtani will be traded by the trade deadline. That across the board. That's it.
I have a question about that. Is Trout a throw-in?
What are you going to give the Angels for Trout and Ohtani? Seriously, what are you going to give them? Define for me a package where that makes sense. What are you giving up?
All of my draft picks for 5 years.
It has to be more than that because the baseball draft, Mahomes was drafted. So what are you drafting, right? What are you drafting?
I mean,
it's got you need actual players, right? So what do? Do you go, I need somebody to pitch with Tyler Anderson? Who are you trading? Who are you trading for? Put in the comments, please let us know who you would give away from your team for Ohtani and Trout in a trade deal when the Angels start dumping everybody.
So here's what
in July.
Here's what I would do. The Cardinals are very creative when it comes to math, and they have a lot of other people paying for their team's salary, which is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
So what I would throw in there is not only are you going to obviously pay Trout and play Ohtani, but I would offer to pay for players on the Angels right now. I would say I would pick up the cost of the players that they keep on their team, and I would keep playing the players that I give them. So I would make this a net positive deal for them. Now, there's some creative mathematicians out there, and I would say right now we have one owner who is a creative billionaire, we'll call him.
Right.
And I think he could make this deal happen because at the end of the day, if you're the Angels and you're going to sell, you're not making the playoffs, I think Trout, Ohtani on the Mets, while the Mets just pick up more salary, is just, I mean, I'm not going to lie, but I think Todd's heart would bubble out of his chest if that
They could throw in Todd's favorite player and give him Brendan Nimmo.
Oh, no. Oh,
And the Angels would be like, this is a deal.
you're not giving up Nimmo for Trout.
Oh, this is, you can't even.
No, you're not doing that. Come on.
Oh, I will. We're just on number 5, folks, but I can tell you.
Just the fact that you said that, Todd, Brendan Nimmo should be sending you season tickets. He's not worth it.
Point.
Trout's not worth Brendan Nimmo.
I can tell
I'll make what? Let's make that shirt.
if he was on the Oakland A's, the good news is Todd would get season tickets from Brandon Nimmo for the low cost of like $100. Because the A's want anyone to show up. So the Angels are going to trade everybody by the midseason before the trade deadline. I would love to see it. I want to see Trout on a winner. Yeah, any of the, if you look at those two studs, everything's on the table. And if everybody's not on the table, then you obviously don't care about winning. If you're
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, number 4, folks. Number 4 is a team that's near and dear to my father's hatred, the San Francisco Giants.
Well, to make this list, I didn't just pick lousy teams because the expectations for the Oakland A's or Washington Nationals is low anyway. But the Giants, now I've been reading a lot about the Giants, and they're like everybody right now, spinning how good they are. They really failed trying to pick up, the people they wanted in free agency, Aaron Judge being at the top of the list. But, they're left with some decent players. It's not that they're a terrible team, but it's not what they expected. They lost some people. Everybody loses people. And I don't know where their optimism is coming from. I think it's probably just spin to get people to buy tickets, because clearly they are not in the league with the Padres and the Dodgers. Okay? So the top they can go is 3rd place. And the Diamondbacks are a scary little new team with a lot of young players. I don't know if they'll beat the Giants out, but I think the Giants are going to be fighting with the Diamondbacks to hold on to 3rd, but forget the playoffs. I mean, even with expanded playoffs. So I just think about the Giant fans who are, devoted fans, very optimistic and positive. I just don't see where the hope is.
I mean, Ross Stripling's not doing it for you?
No, he never has.
He never has.
I gave my Ross Stripling poster away years ago.
He never has.
Yeah, Logan Webb doesn't thrill you to go and get tickets?
He's good. Everybody's got a good player.
No.
I got the Diamondbacks finishing 3rd in their division this year, so I would agree, because if the Giants finish 4th, that's really bad. And clearly they're not as terrible as the Rockies. However, I agree with you. The Giants had a lot of hope this offseason. They made some plays. They talked about, here's the other factor of the Giants. They talked about getting Aaron Judge, and they didn't get him. They talked about getting Carrera, and they didn't get him. So they didn't get the big names. And so they're coming into the offseason with the kind of a dry taste. You didn't have a meal. They didn't eat. They didn't get anybody.
Oh, this is why you're wrong. This is why you're wrong. Michael Conforto.
He was Michael Conforto and Jock Peterson.
That's right.
1-2 combination. Good for 4th place.
I'm going to tell you something. Do you have the Diamondbacks in 3rd in that division?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's Homer. It's a Homer pick, but yeah, we do.
Yeah, it is. There's Homer Simpson pick.
The Diamondbacks, why it's a make sense pick is they are really good starters. They're very competitive. They just have to shore up the bullpen, which I know it's a struggle for the Diamondbacks, but they're competitive, and they will, again, they're on the upswing. The Giants are on the downswing. You can feel it.
The Diamondbacks shoring up the bullpen, saying that's a struggle for the Diamondbacks is...
the Diamondbacks got some pitchers that throw bullets.
Yes.
That are going to end up in the middle relief, and they're going to be very much improved.
Yep.
They got some really good arms in that.
And no Ross Stripling.
No, and they don't. They don't also have.
He couldn't make the team.
Ross, they're over the days of the Russ Ortiz signing, and they got the Giants, player, the heart and soul of the Giants, Longoria.
Oh,
it's the soul away from the Giants. What can you say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Discussion ended.
Yeah.
Well, so now I'm cheering for the Giants this year.
You can. There's a lot of people cheering for the Giants. That's the other problem, is it's struggle to find Diamondback fans. So you weren't going to disappoint anybody if the Diamondbacks didn't perform.
It's because you're playing in the desert where you still think the Cardinals have a chance at a Super Bowl.
No one ever would.
We get Super Bowls every 4 or 5 years. We just never win them.
We're a host. we're a host. We give you hors d'oeuvres. Very happy.
Have some bacon wrapped scallops. They look like little footballs.
Enjoy. So we have another team that likes to host some really great events. I don't know if a lot of fans are going to be hearing this because I don't think they have a lot. The Tampa Bay Rays is number 3 on your list, Dad. Please explain.
Broke my heart. I so idolize this organization, what they do with no payroll. They're fantastic. But I just feel that they lost their edge. They need to, if they were a hockey team, I'd say get in the locker room and sharpen those skates, because to me, they dudded out. I could be totally wrong. Maybe they got a bunch of kids in the minors that are going to come up and save the day. But all that money they paid to Zach Eflin, I just think that money could have been. I just really disappointed in them this year. I always expect a lot from them. Because of that, my expectations for them, which is usually high, have dropped a lot.
Yeah,
That's because they have $10 tickets available for every game. How are you going to pay for a pitcher? Or inflation is kicked in. You got that. You got to up those ticket prices, Tampa.
But they can't get people at $10. You ever watch one of their games? There's nobody there.
I've seen more Tampa Bay games than most of Tampa Bay.
There's a lot of quilting activities in the stadium.
Yeah.
A lot of quilting. Yeah, their only signing is terrible. And they paid him way too much money. And he's not that good. And it doesn't make any sense. So that's where I tend to agree with Dad, is they lost me on that signing. And then you wonder what else did they miss? Is the GM going through a tough time in his personal life that he's not paying attention anymore? Did he just have too much time out in the old rough seas, if you will? Tampa's a lovely place. You can get distracted by watching the Tampa Bay Lightning, which again gets lots of fans, unlike the Rays. So number 3 is probably not going to move the needle too much, but that's your number 3 pick, folks. Top 2, we're getting there. And then the second one, Dad, I may take a big issue with this one. Your second time, the Cleveland Guardians, folks.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
you know what? I would love the Guardians to be great, but I don't. Here's the problem. I've gotten really big on the White Sox. I think the White Sox are going to explode this year. And when they do, Cleveland's going to be deep second place, trying to figure out how to get into the playoffs. And they were so good last year, but I just think it's the White Sox year, and that's going to make things bad for Cleveland.
So you're basing this pick on the White Sox being great.
I am.
Okay.
And then so the Cleveland Guardians are going to be sitting there 10, 12 games out of first.
Whoa, you got the White Sox really being great.
I'm telling you, they're going to explode. Well, look at their division. Who do they play in the division? There's a lot of wins playing in that division.
For both teams, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody can't wait to play the Kansas City Royals this year. I mean, They don't have a lot of talent in that division. That is a true statement. But again, Cleveland also gets to play that division.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
So you're going to peg the Cleveland not even making the playoffs, even as a wild card.
Yeah, I think you make a good point about they got some built-in wins just playing in that division. Where if you're in the East, you know, and it's a lot more competitive. There are going to be more losses over there, but I think the expectations for Cleveland are so high after last year. What did they have? $40 million payroll last year, and they made it into playoffs.
They took the Yankees to Game 5. They had the Yankees 2-1.
Yeah,
They signed Josh Bell.
He's good. He's good.
All your arguments about the Chicago White Sox are off.
Yeah, but
That's it. They signed Josh Bell.
I'm not going to Go ahead, Todd.
Oh, no. I'm gathering my thoughts.
I thought this one would be a hard sell. It is a hard sell because you guys make good points, but I just have this hunch. After a Cinderella season, you don't usually repeat.
I hate this.
How did the Rams do this year? Didn't they win the Super Bowl last year?
But
yeah. Again, here's my argument about Cleveland. I think Cleveland has one of the best players in baseball, but that's not a good argument if you look at the Angels. However, Jose Ramirez does in fact go and play in the playoffs, and he has played in the playoffs, and he mashes in the playoffs. Cleveland still has some good starting. They play in their division, folks. For those that don't pay attention, the Royals, the Tigers, and the Twins. And I don't care what you're saying about Minnesota, but Minnesota is El Stinko. So those three teams are going to give you a lot of wins. I do agree the White Sox are ready to take that next step, but to do it is another story altogether. So Cleveland being a big disappointment, if they didn't make the playoffs, I would be surprised. I would be very surprised to see them not in the playoffs. And you make a very valid point because the AL East is a terror. That is a terror to go through, and I do agree that the Rays are just not built for that, and neither are the Boston Red Sox. I would say probably the Boston Red Sox may win 50 games this year because of that, their division. It's going to be a tough one.
So I had a hard time selling number 2. All right, I get it.
I don't even know why. Why do you think the White Sox are that good?
Because they got rid of Tony La Russa.
Oh, that's a big get right there. No, that's just I'm telling you right now, Todd. The White Sox are groovy. They're
Did you
groovy.
see the guards in The Wizard of Oz when the Wicked Witch died? Ding dong, the witch is dead. They're so happy. That's a White Sox.
Eh.
I like the White Sox too. White Sox are solid. White Sox were posed, and even though they lost Dad's favorite player there, Abreu went to the Astros.
Hold on. This is me checking my pulse to see how excited I am about the White Sox.
Write the name down. Dylan Cease. Cy Young Award winner.
This is the problem
I cease to care.
Yep, they don't. The middle of America doesn't cease to exist in the eyes of those on the coast. Then we get to our number 1 list. So everybody,
go Indians.
Buckle down. This is
Guardians.
The number one. He doesn't even have the right name, but we're sorry to offend. So sorry. The number 1, Dad, your number 1 list. I am overjoyed with. I just say I'm excited to hear your reasonings. The Texas Rangers, folks, are your number 1 this season.
I would have to say that Swing Batter podcast is not a friend of the Texas Rangers. Universally, we've been down on them. You know, I try to step back and have an objective view. They have, on paper, a terrific starting rotation. You know, on paper, gets you through spring training. Maybe. But you know, how they going to stay healthy? And I think the expectations are so high for this team. But again, look at the league. Don't sleep on Seattle. That team is really, really good. And I agree with Houston.
You there.
You got Houston. So you got a lot of competition there. And the Texas Rangers, to me, battle ghosts. Their past is just disappointment after disappointment. Actually, bad years after bad years. They had 2 terrific years where they should have won the World Series, and they didn't. And those days have gone. They want to get them back, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Is that like having your 2 sons live there? Those 2 great years, and they didn't win it?
Oh, that still breaks my heart to watch them lose that series to the Cardinals. One more strike, and they couldn't get it. Twice.
The beauty of no time in a sports game. You have to get the out. You can't wait on the time. What do you got, Todd? Texas Rangers, number 1, baby.
The only team I am less excited about than the White Sox is the Texas Rangers. The only reason I care about the Texas Rangers is because Jacob deGrom is on the Texas Rangers. And I care in the sense that you watch clips of Evel Knievel to see if you catch the one where he completely bails out and breaks every bone in his body when he jumps over all the cars. That's the only reason I'm watching the Texas Rangers, because inevitably they're going to crash and burn. Man, this is a great number 1 pick. This will be the number 1 most disappointing thing to ever happen to Texas since, well, the Alamo.
So here's what's interesting to me about gambling. Texas made all these signings. Everybody thinks they're great. Do you know the odds makers have on Texas winning their division? Do you know who they're tied with in their division to win their division?
Angels.
They're not tied with Houston. They're not tied with the Mariners. They're tied with the Angels. The Angels, which are already planning on selling everybody. So literally the Texas Rangers are that airplane that you put together in your garage. You know, you get a kit to make an airplane and you get excited and you build it. And then as you're taking off, your parts start falling off. That's Texas. Their plane is falling off before takeoff.
Where's Seattle on that list?
Seattle is dead solid second.
Behind Houston.
That is correct. Houston has the odds on favored by a mile to win it, and then Seattle is not too far behind.
Holy cow, that division's stacked. You talk about the East, that division is, well.
So do the Angels trade these players, and when they trade these players, is it because they're competing with Oakland for a win-loss category?
God, Oakland's in that division too?
Oakland is in the...
Oh,
so Oakland's odds of winning the division are so different. So 25,000 to 1 compared to 1,000.
Oakland's odds of winning 50 games?
$100 on that bet.
The over-under for Oakland has got to be pretty low to get the dial moving. So that's your list.
Guys on that.
I don't have the over-under for the baseball team. It has not come out, I don't think, yet. I could be wrong, but I'm definitely looking forward to the sheet. That's my cheat sheet. Every time I go to Vegas, I look for baseball over-unders, and I'm hoping Jacob deGrom's over-under, and that would be great.
Todd said something that triggered a memory for me.
Yes.
We live in an era of politically correct statements. When I was researching on Albert Bell, at least the section I was in, Albert Bell never played for the Cleveland Indians. He played for the Cleveland Guardians. And I'm sitting there scratching my head and said, are you kidding me? That's what they're listed on, even historically, going backwards. I said,
that's interesting.
Bill Veeck never owned the Guardians.
No.
So, when the St. Louis Browns moved to Baltimore, they became Baltimore Orioles. Does that mean the Browns are now the Orioles? You can't go and change history like that just because you don't like it.
Yeah.
Those are some
great. That's just me wandering.
That's what the Texas Rangers are going to want to do after this season. They're going to go back and try to say, well, we never wanted Jacob deGrom. So
if you think the Rangers and the Angels are going to finish top 2 in that division, you get a cool $5,000, 5,000 to 1 odds.
That's betting nothing?
That's the big payday.
You bet a buck it's 50,000.
This is the joys of what we're looking at to start the season. Pitchers and catchers show up. Texas is so looking forward to the season, and the Angels are already looking forward to who they're going to get for trading away their talent. And both teams are in the same boat as it comes to the betting odds, or the mathematicians, if you will, putting together all their formulas. This is what we're looking at. So I hope you enjoyed the list. So for those sitting at home and wondering, who am I going to be disappointed with? Number 5 is pretty fun. The LA Angels, which have historically disappointed their fans. Number 4 is the San Francisco Giants, because I do think they're on a downward spiral. They are not going to be competing for the division. The Tampa Bay Rays are in a very, very terrible division, and their signing of Zach, just not pretty. Number 2 is a big disagreement here at Swing Batter, Cleveland Guardians, only because we're big Josh Bell fans, we're big Jose Ramirez fans, and we're big Cleveland fans. Although, Dad, you bring up some great points with the White Sox being a tear this year. And number 1, yes, number 1, the team that has signed the most money talent the last 2 seasons. I know the Mets came out of the barn this year, but the Texas Rangers the last 2 seasons have committed to losing in ways we could not fathom. They have spent more money than most of you would in so many ways, and it's beautiful. We get to watch them light it on fire, like that scene in Batman, and the Joker just burn it all, because that's what the owner of the Rangers is doing. He's lighting the match, throwing it in.
This town deserves a better class of team.
Yes. That's what we have here for this episode, folks. I am your host, Brendan. I have had a blast. Dad, your lists are awesome. Thank you so much. Todd, thank you for joining. Last words for my father on the biggest list. What do you got, Dad?
This is a great time of year to talk about expectations. Every team has high expectations. Some of them are going to be superseded. You're going to do better than expected. But a lot of them are going to be, let's see, it's June. When's football start? Because my team's so far out of it, I'm giving up.
Very true. Todd?
I have a feeling Dad had expectations of his kids the same exact way he had expectations of baseball. His kid's probably going to do pretty good. This other one, we just kind of hope he makes it through.
I think the only...
Which one of your kids was the Washington Nationals?
There was a tie. We put both of them on this show.
There we go. And that's all we have for today. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Have a great night.
Have a good
Thanks for watching. Thanks for letting us be in your living room.
Whee!